Playoff football is, well, almost here, but at IA football, it is playoff season because our ranker did a great job. He went out and he predicted the final top 16 in the RPI. And with that, we have a bracket. We've got predicted district champions, predicted district runner-ups, and our wild cards. And we threw them all in a bracket. We did the best we could. Again, nothing about this is official. This is all just our best guess, our analysts, whatever you want to call it. We're here to provide some entertainment for you guys. And what's not fun about a predicted bracket with 2 weeks left in the regular season? The RPI is starting to shape form. We're starting to get a better idea as to who's going to be in, who's going to be out, who's on the bubble, where our team's going to be playing in the postseason. And today we tried to predict that for you guys. So again, nothing about this is official. So much can change over the next 2 weeks. I can't express that enough. Our bracket could be totally wrong. Our bracket could be 100% right. Could be somewhere in the middle. But at the end of the day, we've got an idea, and that's the biggest thing. So without further ado, the Class 4A playoff format, 16 teams qualify. District champs, district runner-ups receive automatic bids. There's 6 districts. So 6 champs, 6 runner-ups. That's 12. That leaves you 4 wild cards, which are based solely on the RPI. So with that, we've got our 4 teams that we predict will just miss the cut, and I think the first one is going to shock you. First 4 out: Gilbert, Indianola, DCG, and Winterset. That is who right now we see right on the edge, and Gilbert is the interesting one. They were the last remaining undefeated team in Class 4A, but to be frank, they have a gauntlet of a schedule left. They just lost to Bondurant. They've got Newton and Pella, who right now we have both in. So I can't express. Gilbert's next 2 games are basically playoff games at this point. They're playing to get in, and I think our ranker had them losing both those games. But if that changes, everything can change. Newton obviously looking like a possible district runner-up, so they're going to be locked in. But Pella, they are one of the wild cards. Norwalk, Decorah, and North Polk are your 4 wild cards that we have right now. So again, North Polk, Decorah, Norwalk, and Pella, your 4 wild cards. Gilbert and Pella play this week, I believe. Let me pull it up. No, week 9, Gilbert and Pella play. So that could very well be a playoff game between those 2 teams. And really, Gilbert, we predicted them as the 16th best RPI team, but the problem is Denison was our 17th, and they are district runner-up, so they have to automatically get in, which jumps them and knocks Gilbert out. Well, really, Gilbert, Pella, whoever wins that, loses that, really is going to be in the playoffs. So a huge game. So really take this with a grain of salt. You could really put Gilbert/Pella in the first 4 out, because it's really kind of looking like the winner of that one is going to be in, and the loser of that is going to be going home. But nevertheless, I've got the 4 pods here. We did what we could. Class 4 is a little tougher because Class 5A is just 1 versus 16, 8 versus 9. It's just lined up perfectly. That is not the case with Class 4A and 3A, because you've got to incorporate champions getting home games, and geography plays a little bit more of a part. So take this with a grain of salt, but here is our first pod. Western Dubuque, your runner or your district champion. As you can see, the teams with the plus are our predicted champions, and the little stars are our projected runner-ups in their district. So we've got Western Dubuque and Pella. Like I said, that could easily be Gilbert with a win in week 9. So, and the interesting thing here, North Scott Marion, that 8-9 seed is crucial, because obviously 8 seed you're hosting, 9 seed you're going on the road. That's going to be a fun one. North Scott and Marion, two really good teams there. 2 district runner-ups, might I add, and we could get a really good matchup in the sub-state final right there. Again, you win your pod and you're off to the dome. It's as simple as that. Once you get to the dome, you're reseeded. But really, you got to win these 2 games, and boom, you're off to Cedar Falls playing for a state championship. So this is what pod 1 looks like. I'll sit here for a second and let you guys take a look at it. Again, the 8-9 seed is huge, because you're 1 seed off from either hosting or going on the road. And right now, our ranker sees North Scott hosting that game. Moving on to our next pod as I pull this up. Xavier, district champion. Again, they beat North Scott in what kind of looks like was that district title game. They'd host Decorah, who is one of our 4 wild cards, and then Bondurant Farrar, another district champion. Really big win over Gilbert last week. They still got some big games left, but nevertheless, a good win for Bondurant. They would be hosting Norwalk, who is another one of our wild cards. And I don't know about you, but I see a Bondurant Farrar Xavier matchup to go to the Dome, and that excites me. That's a Dome caliber matchup right there. And as we talked about in Class 4A all season long, there's going to be 2 to 3 really, really good Dome caliber teams that are not going to make it. And that's a matchup right there that if this were true, Xavier and Bondurant, those teams both are Dome caliber teams. There's no doubt about that. But one of them would be going home early. That is a matchup that pops off right now, right away. And I believe that would be a home game for Bondurant because they're the higher seed. I don't think that's a neutral site game. I believe it's just home based on higher seed. So that 4 and 5 seed could end up being crucial as well, if that makes any sense, because the 4 seed would be hosting, 5 seed would be on the road. So a really, really potentially big pod right here in Class 4A. Moving on to our third pod. Another fun one, a lot of district champs and runner-up here. Lewis Central and Denison. Again, Denison Lamar is playing this week for a district title, really. So Denison and Lamar's, you could easily have those flipped. But nevertheless, Lewis Central has played really good. Big key win over ADM, which is going to help vault them. A loss to Bondurant. But obviously, Lewis Central playing really good ball and a projected 2 seed in the RPI. Their strength of schedule is really going to help them out. Lamar's and Denison, like I said, in a district title, and then North Polk as a runner-up. Tough loss to Ballard, but they're going to get a shot against ADM in the final week, which could prove huge. Actually, I'm sorry, North Polk in this graphic, they should not have that star because Ballard beat them. So North Polk, not that it really matters a ton. North Polk is going to need to beat ADM to throw a little triangular action in their district because everybody beating everybody. But North Polk should not have that runner-up. They are one of our wild cards, but they would be going to Lamar's. Our final pod, there's your runner-up. Ballard, they should be the runner-up because they beat North Polk, if that makes sense. So Ballard really securing your runner-up spot. It's not going to cause too much of a difference, but some really fun matchups here. Glenwood and Newton, 2 runner-ups. Glenwood, obviously, a runner-up to Lewis Central in a really good district. And then ADM, the Tigers, if this were to line up how we see it, it would be a district rematch in week 1. Not sure if the IHSA tries to avoid that type of thing, but that's how our ranker sees that right now. So again, take this all with a grain of salt. This is just for entertainment purposes to bring you guys some new content. But that's how we see it. ADM Ballard, Glenwood Newton, winner of that plays each other. Winner of that, boom, off to the Dome. So I'm going to kind of go backwards through this. You guys can take a look and kind of recap it all. But again, once you get to the Dome, you're reseeded based on RPI. So this is not the bracket all the way through the state championship. This is just your bracket to get to the Dome. So as you can see, this one I think is the really, really fun and interesting one, a possible Xavier and Bondurant for our matchup to head to Cedar Falls. And obviously this one right here, North Scott's a really, really good district runner-up. They really had a big lead at Xavier and just kind of lost it. And obviously with Girardi, question marks on his health. If he's healthy, that could be a really dangerous team at the 8 seed. Washington Dubuque, obviously, your 1 seed in the RPI. They've earned that right. They played really well, have some big wins. But nevertheless, that's all we got. I mean, it's really quick and easy. 16 teams make it. They're playing for a chance to go to the Dome. You win your pod. You are off to Cedar Falls. We might be doing something like this again next week because this week there are some huge matchups that will help flip district champs, runner-ups, wild cards, all that stuff. So if you like this stuff, if you like this content, be sure to like the video. Drop a comment. What do you see? What pod excites you? What matchup excite you? Maybe an upset you could see if it were to end like this. But nevertheless, my name is Nissen. I'm happy to bring you guys this content. We've got tons of playoff content coming from hopefully all classes. Again, super excited to bring you guys all this. And yeah, leave a like if you're liking this stuff. And Class 4A fans, I will see you next time.